come in and brief me on things that are happening here. And when I come in, I expect an MC to be here and all these things. Nondo to in-house. Baka ni kalsa sok mbak. Sa sibian operation ni may relax. Baka ni relax na lang ano muni chungo. That's the in-house things that we normally do. Sini may chuki kyo DPC. Do organize takawe na ko kemdo. DD kemdo na training team. Kasi ayal naman do training team. Vangarama indo amiti ko mistenin. Okay. I was briefed and told that you are spending the whole of this week here. And I would like to extend my appreciation in that. I think this is one of the divisions that have stressful situations that we are having. I'm glad that this workshop has given time for them just to come and at least stay away from the busy activity that they do and come and refresh their mind. I would like to extend my appreciation, National Coordinator, in regards to the program today. Last night, I received a call to start with, and I was told that one police officer is trying to reconcile a domestic violence case. I want to start off by that. And the very reason that we are trying to get the Women Crisis Center and other NGOs as part of an audit team to be with us is for the very reason on how we are conducting ourselves given the legislation that is there for us to follow. It's sad to note that we have the legislation in place, yet our police officers tend to go otherwise. And that is the very reason why you are here. The leadership, the leaders of the division. Because when we know things to be done, the subordinate will follow suit. And when we cannot teach them on what things that are there for us to follow, this thing will come up every now and then. And I would like to say to you that apart from all the complaints that we've received in my phone 24/7, one of that will be the domestic violence case. One of that. And I'm very glad this morning that the decision is made for us to come together and then spend a few days just to refresh our mind on things that are needed to be done in our effort in combating crimes against women and children. I would like to acknowledge the Fiji Women Crisis Center for their continuous support. As I've stated a few times, these are one of our external auditors. They audit us and contributed to the improvement of our service as a policy landscape has evolved immensely over the past decade. I would like to state that this lady here was an enemy of mine, But when I go through the workshops such as this, she's now a very good friend. I came to know, because I came from a background that I'm really opposed to what she's advocating. That's my background. But when I come to realize, and given the much deeper awareness on things that are happening and things that I need to know as a law enforcement officer, I'll tell you, you'll enjoy. You'll enjoy. But sometimes you'll want to punch her if things don't go the way that we are thinking. The Fiji Police and the Women Crisis Center have a love-hate relationship, as stated, whereby we may not always like what they've said, but we appreciate constructive criticism. I say it's a constructive criticism they normally do towards the organization, because we play a very pivotal role in the execution of the legislation that is in place. We appreciate the generous support and the financing of this training. And as I have said, being belated here, not only an opportunity to learn, but an opportunity to come and just stay away from the operational perspective point of view, and then open yourself up so that we can refresh our mind on things that are there in the forefront of us, and then we go back and we meet the challenges that are there in front of us. The approval was given to you senior officers because we would like you to effectively lead, and we need to first and foremost understand what is required to those that are under our command. If you don't know, then how will the people under command know things that are? So the very reason that why we are bringing us here is just for us to come and refresh again, know the legislation and know what is supposed to be done at the forefront when we receive complaints that are coming in, especially the violence against women and children. Human rights is much more complex and requires in-depth learning to better understand how it can help us improve police response. We are held accountable to the actions of officers under our command, and as seen lately, we have been criticized for actions of a few of our officers when fundamental principles of human rights are breached. Know that I speak on our Skype session, and I always re-emphasize the need for us to know our powers, the perimeter of our powers. Where do the powers of the police end, and how we, as a police officer, exercise those powers within the law that guided us into that. But if you cannot do that, and yet we cannot teach our young officers that very basic, and we will end up being criticized or scrutinized by the media or by the members of the public, we do not do that well or properly or professionally. As a senior managers, it is also important for us to have an open mindset, because we have been in the policing for almost decades. It's often hard to teach or learn things, as they normally say. Teach old dogs new tricks, it's a little bit hard to get. Tradition and culture have also an impact on the way that we think, and this can negatively impact on the decision we make, which we cannot allow to cloud our judgment in responding to reports of gender-based violence, as some of us and some of our officers have been guilty too. We should remove preconceived ideas that we have about gender-based violence, because we have to be mindful of the victims' needs and not to further victimize them as victims. This is something that we really bad at it, how we treat our victims. I'm sorry to say this. It's like we are interrogating the victims as like a suspect, so to speak. You know the normal questions that police officers normally ask when the victims come in? Where you come from? Are you married? Are you single? Remember, identify who is the victim, who is the suspect. Relevant questions to whom. And some of us are like when somebody is crying and then you're trying to get a stick and then hurt someone so that she can cry or he can cry a lot more. And so that are some of the service that we are providing to the victims that are, especially speaking on the cases of domestic violence. As leaders, we should be adaptable. We have able to adapt to the changes and able to be effectively passed on to those that we lead. Have an open mindset, and as one of our many external auditors, take what they have to share with us as constructive criticism. Learn from it so we can grow and improve our service. Look at a bigger picture of things, and that we are not working in complete isolation. There are other stakeholders that are out there that can assist us to move this organization forward. As commanders and managers under the Southern Division AOR, in both the rural and urban areas, you will encounter members of the public who may be more conservative and traditional and may not agree to things that we learn. And that is where we, as law enforcement officers, have to ensure we are able to adjust and adapt to be able to effectively address gender-based violence reports brought to our attention. To conclude, I urge each and everyone, utilize your time well here. Take advantage of a very experienced lady that is sitting here. I normally say, just milk everything out of her. look at the resources that are coming in. I've been going through your program, and I've noted there's a lot of things to be covered. I would like all of us to take this opportunity, not only as coming and stay here like a holiday for you, but please take this opportunity to exchange ideas and get full maximization on things that you learn. And after the workshop, I urge each and everyone to go back and utilize what you have learned in this week's program. On that note, thank you very much, and thank you for your attendance. I wish you well, and I declare the workshop open.